much for waiting. Just finished our 10 a.m. briefing as indicated we would do. As you know, we'll have a lot of speakers this morning. It's all relevant, so hang in there with us. Okay, very good. Thank you all again for being here. While there has been no significant changes since yesterday, although we have seen a little shift to the west, however, this is a very serious tropical storm warning that has been granted for the city of New Orleans. Surrounding areas, as we've been told, will also experience some level of storm surge. So there's a storm surge warning that has been issued as well. Some of the areas outside of the risk reduction area will face some of these impacts. Highway 90, as we've been told, will remain open at this time. So people can absolutely make plans to leave should they choose. They know their situation better than anyone else. Prepare for heavy rain, slow moving still. This is what we're being told. So this means staying over us for a while with consistent rainfall. So we're looking at the heaviest rains happening tomorrow. This again could have high impact on the city of New Orleans. We are continuing to monitor, of course, the levels of the Mississippi River, potential for storm surge in the river to push water levels up. So we're continuing, of course, to monitor that. We are staying tight in communications and coordination with our local, state, and federal partners. Hopefully we have demonstrated this to you. We had an impromptu press conference even with the governor on yesterday and surrounding parish presidents, demonstrating again we're working together. All services at the Union Passenger Terminal have been suspended. This again is for Amtrak, Greyhound, as well as the Mega Bus. I've spoken directly to the president of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, whose convention was in the city of New Orleans at this time. They absolutely heeded all warnings coming from the city of New Orleans and has made sure that their annual meeting obligations will be completed by 1:30 this afternoon. Many have started to make their transitions out of the city of New Orleans, and those who have decided to hunker down within their hotel rooms. This has opened up additional space at the convention center again for more supplies, commodities, as it relates to our partnership with the Louisiana National Guard. And this is just very important, and of course, with Homeland Security of the city of New Orleans. Also, as you know, at this time, the Rolling Stones concert has been canceled for Sunday. This was the best thing to do, as I could not in any way commit assets from the New Orleans Police Department to manage a special event here in the city at this time. The rescheduled date is for Monday. This is what we have been told, July the 15th. Safety and preparedness reminders, and you'll hear more throughout this press conference. Of course, designate a sheltering place for you. Stay dry as best as possible. Again, high and heavy rain falls. This is what we are preparing for. Make sure that you, again, just stay put. We're focusing on 8 p.m. This evening, asking people to stay at home, shelter in place, have commodities and supplies to last you an upward of 72 hours. Of course, 311 is 24 hours. We have seen an uptick of residents calling and registering themselves and or neighbors or family members through the or with the special needs registry. So again, gather at least 3 days worth of supplies, medications, then you name it. Secure your property, very important. Also, looking out for your pets. I know you'll do that. Stay connected to NOLA Ready at all times for official city updates. I want to strongly reiterate securing your property. This also means trash cans. I know that it was reported on yesterday that we would suspend pickup. That has been suspended. However, we noticed that there were a great deal of residents that did not heed that warning. So getting up this morning, trash cans and debris, curbside. So what we did was initiate, again, a response from our contractors, and they have since gone out, picked up that trash, and they will do so consistently. But again, this is as a result of people not listening to what we have asked them to do. Collect those trash cans, secure them. This will be an issue again when we experience heavy rainfall. We want to free up our drains as best as possible. Remove debris, all types of debris from drains. It matters. So while it is uncertain what the impact will be, we will be effective. We are prepared to respond again effectively. As you all hear, our agencies are ready and they will come after me. Remember to text Barry, and Barry, B-A-R-R-Y, to 888-777. We will continue to keep our residents updated through alerts. We have initiated, as of yesterday, access to text every single cell phone within the city of New Orleans. We will stay on that path to give our residents information, even our visitors. So without further ado, I'm going to move this along. I'm going to call on Benjamin, who is with us as he has been with the National Weather Service. We'll hear from him first, and we'll move through our speakers as you've seen in the past. Thank you again.
Thank you. Good morning. I am Benjamin Schott, the meteorologist in charge of the National Weather Service office here in New Orleans. Tropical Storm Barry is a dangerous and life-threatening storm. It will probably be a hurricane when it makes landfall on the Louisiana coastline as we get into tomorrow morning. Heavy rainfall will be possible. Major to near or even record flooding will be possible on rivers and streams around the area. Coastal flooding is starting to occur right now as we get it southerly flow, pushing water onto the land. A storm surge will be possible tomorrow morning, which can also worsen the coastal flooding across the area. Time is short. If you have preparations that you need to complete, now is the time. You do not have much more time at all before the impacts of Barry will be here. So with that, I hope everybody will take action and be safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Benjamin. We'll have Colin Arnold, who is our Director of Emergency Preparedness, Homeland Security.
Morning. Yesterday, the White House approved the state of Louisiana's request for a federal emergency declaration ahead of Tropical Storm Barry. That includes us in New Orleans due to the mayor signing our local declaration on July 10th, 2 days ago. The New Orleans Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness remains activated in the city's Emergency Operations Center upstairs here at City Hall. We're at a level 1 activation. We have a full house up there ready to coordinate and respond with all of our local, state, and federal partners. The Real-Time Crime Center, again, is active 24/7, allowing us an opportunity to gain situational awareness for street flooding in areas of concern. We've already said it, I won't cover it much more, but wrap up your preparations now, clean up your house, clean up around the house, clean the storm drains. It's time now. We're expecting this to be a heavy rain event. There's going to be intense rain bands over the next day and a half at least. Be prepared to shelter in place. I'm really proud of the city, the residents and visitors in this city. Text Barry to 888-777. Almost 40,000 people signed up in 24 hours. Keep it up, and we will keep you informed. Thanks.
Thank you, Colin. Colonel Terry Abbott? Colonel? Here we go.
Thank you, Mayor. I only want to add my thank you to all the agencies that have worked very hard for a long time, ensuring that we are able to provide protection for our property and our citizens and our visitors to this city. Game day is here. The only thing we can be assured of is something will change in the plan because we're dealing with the unknown. We are prepared, but we need that communication from you, and we need that constant ability to reach out to the citizens, and we, in turn, we're here to respond to your needs. But it's a two-way street, and I'll add to what Colin said, the communications of the needs of individuals is our highest priority. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel. And we'll move along. We have our Superintendent Sean Ferguson, New Orleans Police Department.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. The New Orleans Police Department is poised and ready. We're fully staffed at 12-hour shifts. All of our officers and personnel is ready and alert. Our personnel is packed. Our clothes are together. Everything that we need is with us now. We are poised and ready to stay as long as necessary possible, as long as necessarily needed. What we are asking of you, the community, is to be ready as well. As everyone has said before me, now is the time. Again, we're expecting some heavy downpours over the next 24 hours, and as such, that means we're expecting some standing waters. So please do not drive through our flooded streets. I encourage you also, please do not drive on our levees. Just last night, we had some residents in Algiers to drive on the levees, and our officers were vigilant in asking them to stay off the levees, and he asked them to do so, at which time they did. So we need you to work with us to make sure that we as a community survive this together. We're also asking that you, as this event comes into play, and these waters are starting to fill, we're asking that you kind of be responsible. Approximately 8 o'clock tonight is going to be very, very serious rainfall that we're going to start incurring. And we're asking you to stay in, shelter in at home as much as possible. You're in the streets, you're getting stranded. That not only put yourselves in danger, they put our first responders in danger as well. Stalled vehicles, that causes a problem for us to get to and from anyone who may need serious aid. Check on your elderly neighbors, your elderly family members, your disabled neighbors, your disabled family members. Make sure that they are ready and prepared for over the next 72 hours. Food, water, medicine, or all your necessities that are required to get through these next 72 hours. So please help us to help you, and we will all survive this together. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief McConnell?
I want to stress that the women and men of the New Orleans Fire Department are trained and well prepared for this event. As you know, this event is predicted to be, as everyone is saying, mostly a rain event, which has potential for flooding. Therefore, we have increased our staffing, have strategically placed our boats and high water vehicles in staging in preparation of this event. Once again, the NOFD would like to ask all residents that they are prepared for this storm. So please take the precautions necessary now, as you've heard everyone state. And as we expect this large rainfall, you don't know what the storm may bring. Residents are urged to be prepared for down power lines, localized flooding, and extended power outages. We would ask that you avoid using portable generators. I've said this on each of the previous press events. If you have to use one, make sure it's outdoors, 10 feet away from your home and well ventilated. Carbon monoxide is a poisonous gas, and we have seen in previous incidents like this, generators burn homes down. So please be careful. Finally, as the storm passes through, use extreme caution when you go back outside. Be alert for broken glass and other damage, particularly trees or down power lines, and watch for closed roads and flooding or barricaded areas. Do not proceed through flooded streets. Stay tuned to your local media, and please be safe through this event. Thank you.
Thank you. And I know that Chief Ferguson touched it as it relates to driving in flood waters. It's something that we are communicating to residents, of course, visitors, but make no mistake about it, we are communicating that to city employees as well. I know that there was something on social media with a fire truck going through water, pushing water. That is unacceptable. We're dealing with that, but I just wanted to put that on the record on the front end of this. We will deal with that. Also, what I'm being told, and this is not only for our folks that we've communicated it to, but it's important that residents know this as well. If your vehicle stalls in water, leave it alone. Don't turn it. Don't try to, crank it back up. It only causes further damage. What I'm told, based on our city vehicles, it can go from $100 to repair if you just leave it alone to $15,000. Now, this is relative to city vehicles, but the message is the message, and of course, vehicles are vehicles. So that goes too for our residents as well. I just think that's a great little tip to share. Let's keep it moving. Dr. Emily Nichols, EMS.
Thank you, Mayor. Your local EMTs and your paramedics are prepared to respond to your medical needs throughout this weather. I ask that you please reserve 911 for life-threatening emergencies. We expect high call volumes, and we will continue to respond to those calls for service while it is safe for us to do so. But we want to be available for the sickest individuals. If you do not have an emergency, please use 311. If you're unsure whether it's an emergency, also look into using nurse triage lines through your local hospitals or your health insurance. They are available, and we will continue to be available. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Avegno, New Orleans Health Department.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. The Health Department, like all city agencies, remains committed to protecting the health and safety of our residents, particularly those with medical and mobility needs. Please do a last-minute check for yourself, your family, your friends, and neighbors to make sure you have all of your medications, you've charged your electric medical devices like scooters, have sufficient oxygen if you're oxygen dependent, and attended your last-minute dialysis appointments. If you haven't done so, you can still go online at specialneeds.nola.gov or call 311 to enroll in our special needs registry. Our call center has been open and will remain open throughout the duration of the event. If you're out of town, you can go online or call to register your loved ones. We are prepared to assist people who are unable to stay in their homes should there be a power outage. In addition, we continue to be in contact with all the local hospitals and major healthcare facilities, and they ensure us that they continue to be prepared and ready. They are operating under normal conditions at this point. Homeless shelters are expanding to take in our unsheltered homeless population. Right now, our outreach partners at Unity and others are on the streets transporting individuals to homeless shelters who wish to seek shelter.
Thank you. And the shelters were open, additionals at noon today, 12 noon today. It's just important to reiterate that. I'm going to call on Tyrell Morris, who is with our Orleans Parish Communications District.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. 911 and 311 stand ready. The agency moved to level 2 staffing as of 7 p.m. last night. We do have the ability to go to level 3 if we need to. We've been in conversation with our federal partners at the Federal Communication Commission to respond to any possible 911 outage. We do not anticipate that at all. 911, to reiterate Dr. Avegno and Dr. Nichols, is for life-threatening emergencies only. The most critical piece of information you can give us when you call 911 is your location. Second, answer the call taker's instructions. We're managing a lot of resources through here, so we had to make sure your call is properly prioritized and we send the right people to the right place at the right time. It is critical that you answer the questions of the call taker so we can do that properly. 311 is available 24 hours a day. We can also use our mobile application at nola.gov/311. If you don't want to call in to speak to someone, you can do the same thing on the phone. You can do online. So we encourage you. We are monitoring the online submissions 24 hours a day, so there's not any difference in prioritization. Thank you.
No, thank you. Our Sheriff, Marlon Guzman.
Thanks, Mayor. We continue to implement our emergency preparedness plan at the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office. We are fully staffed. Our visitation center will close today at 6 p.m. We will do magistrate first appearance at 3 p.m. And currently, we have released 62 inmates on low offenses, low-level offenses, misdemeanors, and we're standing by.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And assisting with food.
That's right.
All right. Thank you. All right, we have Ghassan Corbin, Sewerage and Water Board.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everybody. We are all prepared and ready, all hands on deck. We have activated our EOC to level 1, which means all critical positions are staffed, all critical personnel are present and ready to respond to whatever comes our way. We continue to make adjustments, as we stated yesterday, and I have some updates for you this morning. All our turbine generators are are available, or our frequency changers are available. A change from yesterday, we stated that we had 3 out of our EMDs that were available out of the 5. Today we have 4. We are able to repair 1. The significance of that is that we then have 77.5 megawatts available to us. And as I stated yesterday, the peak need does not exceed 50. So we have a significant amount of cushion or redundancy available to us in terms of power generation. We are down from 118 pumps that are available to 117, and that's being done in a proactive fashion, and I'll explain what that means. So pump station 11 has 4 pumps. 2 are 60 cycle and 2 are 25 cycle megahertz. And what that means, 2 of those megahertz, 25 megahertz, are powered by our Carrollton power plant, and that feeder comes across the river, and there's a junction box that is on the river side of the levee. And because of the forecasted rise of the river level, we feel that the junction box is subject to damage, so we are deactivating it. So that means we will lose power to 2 of those 25 cycle pumps. In reaction to that, and again, proactively, we do have a generator that is able to generate 25 hertz power within the pump station that is able to only do 1 of the 2. So we will have 1 of those 25 ready. The ultimate loss of that is only 15%, so we will be able to operate at 85% at that pump station. We are not concerned about that, only because the area it serves is in the Algiers area. There's a lot of storage and a lot of green space and capacity, so we're not concerned in terms of that specific loss, and we feel it's a good decision, proactive decision to avoid damage to our infrastructure. We have requested that the Franklin Avenue underpass be blocked in anticipation that water will rise, and as we've experienced, the draining of that area will be much slower than the rest of the city, and we want to be proactive, and we want to make sure to prevent people from driving through that underpass. Again, we are continuing to find a long-term solution to that issue, because obviously it has been reoccurring, and we want to avoid that in the future. All our pump stations are fully staffed and with redundancy, because we think that's very, very crucial. In terms of other critical services that the Sewage and Water Board provides in terms of drinking water and managing waste water, that has been well maintained, and obviously there's a lot of competing interest and what have you, but we stand ready to continue to provide those critical services to our residents and our visitors. We have, in order to improve efficiency at our pumping stations, we have cleaned all our screens. We removed a lot of the debris that is designed to be catched by those screens, and we are in the process of removing all that debris away from the pump station, again, increasing efficiency in terms of intake at those spots. We have monitored or have been monitoring our canals, and we're able to retrieve some large objects throughout the canals that happened or occurred during the Wednesday storm.
A trampoline.
A trampoline was one of the objects that we removed. How that made it there, who knows? But we are proactively assessing switching over from Entergy power to our T6, our generator T6, which produces 60 cycle. And we're watching the wind speed, and we're in constant communication with our partners at Entergy to make that decision proactively. We're not going to wait for any downlines or loss of power and then react to that. We think doing it proactively would be much more effective and efficient and put us in a much more controlled situation. Finally, we have, again, in the interest of being transparent, and we want to educate the public about what we do and how we do it. We've stood up a active, or I should say static map on our website showing all the pump stations that we have and how many each of these stations, how many pumps each of these stations has. We are showing the direction of flow of all the canals that obviously interface with our pumping station. And one of the main things that we're trying to message and educate the public is that the water that is closest to the pump station is the water that is drained last. It seems to be thought the opposite, where if we're closer to the pump station, that water disappears first. That is not true. So if you live near a pump station, your water will be the last to be drained. Thank you.
Thank you, Gassan. Don't go far, you know that. Okay. Ramsey Green, who is our Deputy Director of Infrastructure. Welcome back, Ramsey.
Thank you, Mayor. Ramsey Green, Infrastructure, City of New Orleans. Very quickly on the flood response side, the Department of Public Works has 12 vacuum trucks responding right now to 311 calls that have emanated since Wednesday. We're also concentrating those trucks, cleaning out the under 36-inch lines, the catch basins, on places where our public safety folks are saying, look, we had flooding adjacent to X hospital, go check it out, and our folks are doing that now. We have all of our maintenance crews from the Department of Public Works out on the road, working on both maintenance and response to flooding and preparation for it. We had over 400 311 calls related to localized flooding over the last 24 to 36 hours, and we're responding to those. Additionally, we have 10 tow trucks. In the event we have to initiate a courtesy towing program, we hope we don't have to do that very often. If you're a driver, don't drive in water, real simple. And if you drive near any water, drive slowly. Your wake will flood somebody's business or house, and that's a rough thing to do. Stay away from overpasses also if you're driving. On the vertical infrastructure side, our folks are ensuring that generators are operable for both fire, police, and then as well as City Hall. We had a scare on air conditioning here this week, and our folks jumped into action and got it back online very quickly. Additionally, coordinating with the federal and state government is really critical at this time. FEMA Region 6, led by Tony Robinson, has sent down Ronnie Fairley from FEMA to ensure that we're doing what we need to do in the event we have to ask for federal money to pay for these operations. And part of that emergency vac truck deployment was in consultation with both FEMA and the Governor's Office of Homeland Security, led by Colonel James Wascom. That partnership is critical. We have 21 active construction sites, surface and subsurface throughout the city. They are buttoned up. Those are between the City of New Orleans and Sewage and Water Board, and safe. Just be aware if you're outside of them. And then finally, we have folks on standby in the event we have to initiate preliminary damage assessments in the event that the city is damaged in a critical way. But we are ready, but we really hope folks exhibit a lot of personal responsibility. Before your street floods, go check out your catch basin. Pick up what's in front of it. The Sewage and Water Board cannot pump water that doesn't get to its assets, and that is incumbent upon residents, businesses to get that stuff out of catch basins. Make it easy. Get that water there, and the city will ensure that those catch basins are responded to and those smaller lines are cleaned out. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramsey. Okay. Derek Bays? Where's Derek? Okay, Flood Protection Authority, thank you for being here.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, I'm Derek Bays, CAO of the Flood Protection Authority East. As of late last night, we closed up all Mississippi River floodgates in St. Bernard and Orleans parishes. That is the first time that we are aware that that has been done before. We've also closed up the entire industrial canal. And I also want to report that the surge barrier, Seabrook, and all of our other large sector gates have been closed as of 10 o'clock this morning. Additionally, this morning, in monitoring the lake levels, we recognize that the lake, we're starting to see a rise. And so we hit the 3-foot trigger at the London Avenue Canal Permanent Pump Station. We have now closed that, the gates on that station and began pumping the canal down in coordination with Sewage and Water Board. We're continuing to monitor the lake level at the other 2 stations. The trigger for those is 4 feet, and we'll work that with Sewage and Water Board if the need arises. We've also started closure of, floodgates along Lakeshore Drive. So we encourage the public to not go out on Lakeshore Drive. We're already seeing some water out there. It's not a time for sightseeing. So please allow us to do our job and keep that area safe. We are closing Highway 11 floodgate this morning. There is an emergency evacuation ramp that goes on the levee around that, but we have done that in coordination with DOTD. We continue to monitor the situation at Highway 90. It is a possibility that we close Highway 90. We have not made that decision yet, and if we do, it will be done in conjunction with the city, the state, and DOTD. There is an emergency evacuation ramp at that location as well, but we have people on site monitoring as we speak right now. We're very confident in the system, whether it's on the river or on the hurricane system, that it is going to perform and do its job in this storm. People should feel comfortable and confident, but you also need to remember to take care of yourself and take care of your family. This is a serious storm, and we cannot eliminate all risk, so please take appropriate precautions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bays. Appreciate that. We're going to go to Alex Wiggins with the RTA.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
The RTA will continue to provide transit service throughout this weather event as long as it's safe to do so. We're currently operating a modified service. All of our buses are on the street, essentially. The streetcars have been replaced with bus service. We do ask the customers who use our paratransit service to work with us so we can prioritize medically necessary trips as well. The ferry service connection between Algiers and Canal Street is actually being operating under a bus bridge, and so the ferry service at Algiers Canal and Chalmette will be shut down for a few days. It's really important that we get you to your destination, but most importantly that we get you back home safely. So as this weather develops, we will be modifying our service. So the very best way to stay in contact with us is our ride line, 504-248-3900, 504-248-3900. Look at our website and social media so you can stay informed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex. I'm going to call on Colonel Donnelly, who is the Louisiana National Guard.
Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Colonel.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I just got a couple of quick updates. I know everybody was here when the governor did his press conference with the parish presidents yesterday. He made the announcement that we're going to mobilize 3,000 National Guardsmen. I could tell you this morning we went up to like a little bit over 2,600 National Guardsmen, and we're going to get to 3,000 this afternoon. That was fairly quickly since we had a couple of hundred that were actually mobilized. So to ramp up a couple of thousand overnight was a significant movement by the National Guard. So we're sprinting to the start line, understanding that this is going to be a marathon. We wanted to make sure we get all our soldiers there, but we're going to be here over the long haul. Right now, 1,100 of those are in New Orleans, and those are going to be mostly at the Morial Convention Center and the Alario Center. We'll continue to move them as necessary. Just to give you an idea of what the mission sets are, right now there's going to be about 70 high water vehicles that'll be available, with about 300 personnel that'll be available for search and rescue. 600 of those 1,100 personnel will be working with Chief Ferguson. I've already given him a heads up, as part of our normal agreement we have with the city with our all hazards plan. Those soldiers will be working in the districts, augmenting, working with NOPD with security operations. Along with that, we're going to stage other assets and commodities. Right now, en route from Roseland, which is our regional support area where all our commodities are, we have trucks that are coming that have 40,000 MREs and also 80,000 bottles of water, which will be available for commodities in the event that we need to push those out to individual citizens. And we're making sure we keep track of the inventory so we can keep refreshing that as necessary as we move along. So I think that's the set going in as landfall comes with this tropical storm, and then we'll flex off of that as needed. I mean, there's a lot of other assets within the National Guard around the state that's helping the other surrounding parishes that are in need. But I can tell you we also have some other available assets should we need, like engineer work teams. We have a task force bus operation with a lot of soldiers that can get in buses to move people to shelters if that's necessary. So all of those things are kind of being set as we move through, the first part of this storm, which is the first is to protect the lives of the citizens and make sure we do the search and rescue piece. And then after that, no telling what you'll need. So we wanted to make sure we're prepared with the amount of assets and resources that we need. It's better to have enough resources on site than not have any when you need it. So that's the kind of approach that we're taking. Pending any questions, I'm set, Mayor.
No, thank you so much, Colonel. And another thing just to add, the buses that the Colonel mentioned are being staged at Zephyr's Stadium, or Zephyr's Field.
Yes, ma'am.
And that has been provided, of course, by the state of Louisiana, which is connected to the city as it relates to evacuation. Thank you, Colonel. Okay, we have Colonel Thomas Sears for the Corps of Engineers.
Yes, good afternoon, Mayor. The Corps of Engineers, our operations, we've actually gone to an enhanced operations for 24 hours through the event. We'll have about 60 people working at the district, making sure that we take care of any issues that arise. We're continuing to do our flood fight measures, and we've been, since November, in a flood fight, and we've, for the last 6 months, every day we've been out inspecting the levees and making sure if there's any issues out there that they're taken care of. The IH&C lock has been closed, and we have put sandbags on the lock doors up to a 3-foot level, just in case. We do not predict any overtopping based on the current modeling. We also, we're not approving any waivers for construction within 1,500 feet of the levee. And we have engineers on standby to assist any of our local and federal and state issues or agencies. Putting your questions, all I have.
Thank you so much. Now, I know we have presence this afternoon or this morning with the Coast Guard. Where's our, okay, there he is. Come on. These assets are very important.
Good morning, everyone. Lieutenant Sean Merrick here representing Sector New Orleans, the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard has all their assets in place, and we're ready to respond. We anticipate closing the river probably sometime today, and we'll look to reopening that as soon as conditions allow. And pending any questions, that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. All right, now, Christian with the New Orleans and Company, speaking in regards to hospitality, our industry here.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. Well, we know that we have a large population of people checking out early and leaving our city. And most of those people have flights, they've changed their flights, and they have confirmed seats on flights. We're asking that if you do not have a confirmed seat on a flight, to stay put and shelter in place. We're trying to mitigate snarls at the airport as we have people coming in. We have fewer airplanes available as the storm gets closer, so the opportunities to leave the city are going to start to diminish. So again, we just want to remind everyone who is a visitor here and they're looking to leave the city, if you do not have a confirmed seat on a flight, do not go to the airport because you will not be permitted to shelter in place there. We advise sheltering in place at the hotel you're in now. For those who are arriving in the city, we encourage you to sign up for NOLA Ready, of course, for real-time updates and alerts. And for our hotel partners, we ask that you remind anyone who's checking out early that they won't be permitted to stay at the airport if they do not have a seat on a flight. So advise them, if they don't have a confirmed seat on a flight, to stay put at the hotel. And those who are staying in Airbnbs, short-term rentals, please sign up for NOLA Ready. Take heed of the precautions and warnings that the city is sending out. Pay attention to local news and stay tuned to these press conferences as we get through this event together. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Kevin Dolio.
Thank you, Mayor, and that was a perfect segue to me.
Yes, it was.
Okay, operations right now at the airport are normal but fluid. We do know of a few cancellations today already outbound. Allegiant has canceled all 3 of their flights for today. British Airways has canceled its flight today and their flight for tomorrow. We do know inbound later, there's some inbound cancellations which will drive cancellations of early morning originators tomorrow morning. The majority of the airlines have issued travel advisories for the New Orleans airport, and they're waiving fees to change flights. And as Christian indicated, this morning we started seeing very long lines in the ticketing lobby with a lot of travelers coming to the airport to make reservation changes in person. We know the airlines are working hard to accommodate everyone, but we strongly encourage travelers to make their reservation changes over the phone before coming to the airport. The airport will stay open unless weather conditions become unsafe or infrastructure is damaged. It is up to the individual airlines again to decide when they'll stop flights from our airport. We do know there's other airlines having conference calls with their corporate offices late morning, early afternoon. They'll make decisions as to schedule for the rest of the event. We're continuing our storm preparations for the facility as we approach landfall early tomorrow. The airport's Emergency Operations Center is activated. We're maintaining close coordination with the airlines and our other tenants, and we're staffed up and ready to respond as needed. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to call on Sandra Diggs Miller with Entergy.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Let me begin by saying I'm pleased to report that all of the customers that were affected by the Wednesday storm event have been successfully restored to power. While our crews have been working tirelessly to restore our residents to power, they have also recognized that we have a major storm heading in this direction, and our goal is to safely and quickly restore power. Our electric and gas crews are fully staffed, and we have alerted additional resources in order to accelerate restoration efforts when it is safe to do so. Restoration efforts proceed in an orderly manner. Scouts begin with assessment, then line crews begin repairs. Certain types of work, such as repairs requiring the use of bucket trucks, cannot be safely completed while winds exceed 30 miles per hour or there's street flooding. I also want the public to know, due to the state of emergency, walk-in customer care centers are closed and are expected to reopen Monday, July 15th. However, customers will still have access to their accounts online via Entergy My Account. Customer disconnects are temporarily suspended during the Tropical Storm Barry weather event. We urge all customers to stay informed. Information on storm preparation and safety can be found at EnergyStormCenter.com. I also have a few important tips I want the public to be aware of. Customers are urged to stay away from down power lines and areas of debris. Energized power lines may not be visible among the rubble. Down lines should be reported immediately by calling 1-800-ENERGY. Customers are reminded not to walk in flooded areas or standing water. Wet tree limbs can conduct electricity. Customers are reminded to stay alert for natural gas leaks. If they smell natural gas or hear a blowing or hissing noise, leave the area immediately and call 1-800-ENERGY from a nearby location. Should customers want to use a generator in the event of a power outage, they are encouraged to have a licensed electrician connected to their homes, and properly connected generators are a hazard to restoration personnel. If you haven't already done so, we are encouraging customers to download the free Entergy app at EnergyApp.com and sign up for text alerts by texting capital R, capital E, capital G to 368374. We encourage customers to take advantage of the tools and resources available so they can stay up to date and make more informed decisions for themselves and their families. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. And I'd like to call on Cynthia Sylvain Lear with sanitation. Where's, oh, come on, Miss Cynthia Sylvain Lear.
The Department of Sanitation continues to remove debris on major thoroughfares. The most important messages is that we will be suspending collections on Saturday outside of the French Quarters and DDD. And inside of the French Quarters and DDD, which has a very different collection schedule, there will not be any evening collections. Contractors are collecting today on Friday. However, this really depends upon whether we have early rain showers, flooding in areas, but we are asking citizens who may have been collected today, remove your carts from the curb. And even if you are scheduled for collection tomorrow, outside of the French Quarters and DDD, do not place your carts curbside. And although unfortunately some persons flooded earlier this week, we are asking that they do not put their flood debris on the curb. Please, please hold it on your property secured until Monday. We are not able to collect this at this time. That debris in floodwaters will clog catch basins and create more problems throughout the city. So we have also been in contact with the area's landfills. River Birch Landfill will be closed on Saturday and Sunday due to this weather. The Gentilly Landfill will also be closed on Saturday and Sunday. And in fact, I'm in communications with them now. These landfills may close even earlier than scheduled today. They are very saturated with water. This creates a problem with the movement of those heavy trucks and vehicles. So all of the collection contractors are in communication so that we can stay aware. This not only affects persons who are collected by the city's contractors. Please know for businesses, other properties that are not collected by the city's contractors, your collection company should have contacted you to make you aware of what they can and cannot do. But the message of not placing debris curbside applies to everyone. We need people to cooperate and to care about their businesses and homes and the neighbors' businesses and homes. This is very important. We know we'll have a very big job on Monday, but we cannot respond. We have already received reports of persons putting massive amounts of things on the curb. We will try to get as much as possible, but just as every other operations group has mentioned, we can only do this work until it's safe to do so. So we need everyone's cooperation. Please secure your properties. On Monday, we will all be started very, very early. But again, if it is your scheduled day, even on Monday for collections, that's when you put your debris out. Please, please work with us. Listen to the reports that are given. We will give you further directions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Director Ann McDonald.
Thank you, Mayor. The crews of Parks and Parkways stand ready to respond to any tree emergencies. We have a lush urban canopy, which is susceptible for failure with heavy rain and wind. We ask that you call 311, be specific. Is it a down tree? Is it a down branch? We will work until the winds sustain at 30 miles per hour or floodwaters. It won't be safe for our crews to go out after that. We will immediately begin responding and when it is safe for us to respond. As we stand here as the leaders of agencies, there are men and women behind us working behind the scenes to implement all our plans. I'm so proud to work with them, and thank you as citizens to cooperate with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ann. And I'm going to call on council members as they wish to come. Councilwoman?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, as you can see, we are a united front, and the city, along with our state and federal partners, is as well prepared as we can possibly be for this particular storm. And now, of course, it's up to the residents of the city, along with our visitors, to prepare themselves. And I'll be honest, I mean, you've got until about 8 o'clock tonight to make sure that you're comfortable, possibly for up to 3 days. Como dije ayer, ahora es el tiempo para hacer todas las preparaciones para esta tormenta. Para esos que tienen necesidades especiales, puedes llamar 311 para que el Departamento de Salud sabes dónde está y te puede ayudar si necesitas ayuda. También, si quieres más información para Barry, puedes mandar un mensaje de texto a 888-777 88777 y puedes poner la palabra Barry para que puedas recibir más información de esta particular tormenta. Pero tenga mucho cuidado porque como a las 8 de esta noche se va a hacer un poquito peligroso. Gracias.
Thank you so much. I was hoping you would keep that going. Councilwoman?
Good morning or good afternoon. I don't know what time it is. Thank everybody. Thank you, Madam Mayor, for your leadership. And it takes a lot of preparation, coordination, and leadership to see what you have today, to have a plan in place to respond to a hurricane and to prepare for one. And what you see now is a government that is ready. And I want all the residents to know, and our visitors that are here, that we are ready to respond and we are prepared. And I just want to say that we are ready to go. And I want to also say that I want businesses not to take advantage of our residents who are going to fill up at the tank. You know, price gouging is in effect, and so just want y'all to know
It's illegal.
Yeah, it's illegal, right, right. So thank you all. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Mayor, for having this collaboration with us and with us, and to make sure that citizens are protected. Well, first of all, you guys have heard it here. There's buku of advice that's been offered to you to make sure that you adhere to being very responsible. But I also wanted to emphasize a couple of things. For my kids, you guys, there's still time for you guys to charge up your electronics. So triplets, please make sure you charge up your iPads, your whatever games that you guys have. Be prepared. Help out your mom and dads. If your parents have not bring in the trash can and you see debris outside, go outside and help out. Because you guys play a critical role in helping us to make sure that we respond well. For our adults, you know, I was thinking about this morning, and as we go through this emergency crisis, we are going to be suffering from anxiety. There will be stress that will be added. So I want to encourage all the citizens to do a usha, relax. You know, because when you're in an anxiety stage, you cannot make responsible decisions. And we've been through this before as a community. And so I want to remind all of our parents, all of our kids to relax, be calm, and just make sure that we make responsible decisions for our family. Kính thưa quý vị, báo của Barry nó sẽ tới. Xin đi mong là sự an ninh của quý vị rất là quan trọng với thành phố. Xin quý vị giữ sự an ninh với gia đình, coi con cho các em, make sure là các em nó có đủ đồ ở nhà, and cố gắng ở nhà đừng có bối rối về những nhiều chuyện, tại vì nhiều lần báo nó tới nó sẽ làm cho mình rất là bối rối. Xin đi muốn khuyên quý vị là cứ đừng có làm cái gì mà nó có sẽ ảnh hưởng đến gia đình của quý vị. Cảm ơn quý vị. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman. All right, Councilwoman.
All right, thank you. We can see what a wonderful series of voices we have at the council and wonderful backgrounds and how we're really addressing this issue. So I want to thank my fellow council members. And it's obvious that we all stand in support of our mayor and the amazing, talented professionals and public servants that are behind us. And you know, they can only do their job when we do ours. And I just also want to thank all the citizens out there. I have seen unprecedented levels of volunteering, of working with their neighbors, of helping their neighbors get the needed supplies from water to food to any types of provisions and medication, and cleaning out sandbags, getting texts in the middle of the night, showing me the one, but please don't do it at night. So we're really excited. I'm very pleased with the amount of work that all of our citizens have done. There's no other city that's better prepared that knows how to deal with this than our city. And you can see from behind me, all of these people have done this before. They're incredible professionals, and we need to do our part in order to get this done. And from that, I just want to thank all the people out there from St. Roch to Algiers who've been doing tremendous work. I want to finish strong, but I also want to do a shout out to Algiers to make sure, please do not drive on the levees. There are many of our neighborhoods along the levees in Algiers that back right up onto the river. There is no driving, and if you do drive, you're going to be reported immediately. And in addition to that, no parking on the base of the levees when we look at them and going into the neighborhoods. So those are two things that we can all do as citizens and make sure that we will all be safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I call him the closer.
Yeah. Come on, closer.
Council.
Well, they saved the best for last, apparently.
That's right.
There's a central theme that has been illustrated here today. And that central theme is that everybody who has spoken on this side is prepared for this storm. Now, the one variable in this whole equation is whether or not the people that are listening are prepared. The fact is that we need you all to do what you need to do to make sure that we can help you to get past this. There are a few hours left. If you haven't been out to the store, go and get the supplies that you need. If you haven't gotten gas, go and get that. If you haven't made arrangements to do whatever it is that you need to do to get your medicines or whatever you need to do for 3 days, you need to go and make that happen now. The window is closing, and again, we are holistically committed over here to do what we need to do, but you all got to help us do that. I also want to say an absolute heartfelt thank you to all of the people who have been doing yeoman's jobs in cleaning out catch basins. I got pictures from a young man, Napoleon Benoit, took out 5 bags of garbage out of a catch basin. I've also been riding around through Uptown and seeing people on Carondelet Street and on Valance Street. And I don't want to start naming streets because there's too many to name, but people have actually been helping to do this. If you see debris in front of the catch basin, please move it. The fact is that the water can't get pumped out if it can't get in. It's very simple. And the water will not care whether or not the city moved the trash or you did. It can get into a place you don't want it if it can't get into the catch basin. And then in closing, we also need to give a very, very, very sincere thank you and appreciation to all of those thousands of city employees who are on the job. The people that, not just city employees, city, state, and federal employees who are helping us get through this. Their families are just as impacted as all of ours, yet they are doing their civic duties to help us get through this. So I want to give a shout out to them and hope that all their families are safe and say thank you to all. I see that sign back there that says Soul is Waterproof 504. It sure is, y'all. We're going to make through this fine. We just got to do it together. And on Monday, we'll have a big party to celebrate all this is being done. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Now, as you can see, and you've heard from all of our partners here, and we'll take questions at this time. No, she's in charge, LaTanya. The city did not put forth a coordination of sandbags. We advise that if residents were interested in doing so, that they can do that. However, be responsible for removing the sandbags. What we have seen from previous storms and distributions, it puts a big strain on our assets as it relates to the fire department, but more importantly, what we have seen is that the level of sand that ends up in our drains, it works against us. It works against the system that's in place to drain the city of New Orleans. In an urban environment, this is a best practice. However, if a resident feels that this is what they would like to do for themselves, their property, to do so, but be responsible for removing those bags as well and preventing that sand from getting into our drains.
So what recourse would residents have to obtain sand if the city not provided? Do they just already need to have it, or?
Well, it's absolutely available. Home Depot, for example, there's been activity there. There are residents who have them already, meaning that this is a part of their preparation. And this is something that if they want to do it, then we're supporting them. However, the city of New Orleans is really working hard not to have sandbags throughout our urban environment that will jeopardize the system that's in place for drainage.